And what's up, guys? It is 8:42 in the morning. We're not expecting to be live, but the Browns just signed Quinton Jefferson, and we were putting together our stuff, but we couldn't wait 2 hours and 18 minutes to come on the air and actually break down this news. We'll have Bull in, we'll have Jason in, we'll have Tyvis in today to break this down more in depth, Earl. But Quinton Jefferson, the defensive lineman, he's a versatile guy, can play inside, can play outside. He's coming off a career-high 6 sacks last season for the Jets. We had talked about them bringing back Hurst and Shelby Harris to go along with Dalvin Tomlinson, Siaki Ika. We thought they might be done at the defensive tackle, defensive end position. We spent a large part of yesterday's show saying they already have 7-8 guys they feel really good about. Well, you get a chance to add another guy like Quinton Jefferson on a 1-year deal. It seems like a no-brainer. Initial thoughts of the move of the Cleveland Browns signing Quinton Jefferson.
I think it's a great move. You know, more reinforcements is on the way, right? You know, you bring in a guy coming off a career year, 26.5 sacks over his career. He joins a stacked defensive end room with Myles, Za'Darius Smith, Alex Wright, and Ogbo. A dude, like you said, who can play inside and outside. So that gives you about 3 or 4 dudes on that defensive line who's very versatile, right? More schemes that Jim Shorts can kind of put together. More ways to attack the opposing offense. This is another move by Andrew Berry. I think that you get a really, really good player at a low bargain, right? Yeah. And this is typically how you move. 1-year deals, you know, for a guy that you know can play some football. It doesn't really put you in, you know, a long-term stranglehold with the salary cap and things like that. So another great move. You know, you get somebody up front. This is where football is won, especially December, January, hopefully February. It's in the trenches. So this is great. And
you look at Jefferson. So he had 6 sacks last year, which was a career high.
Right.
5.5 the year before, 4.5 the year before. He can play inside, outside. He's listed at 6'4", 290. So he does have the stature and size to slide inside if needed. Also the quickness to move outside. He was playing alongside a really talented defensive line in New York last year. So to be able to have 6 sacks when you also have guys like Bryce Huff, Jermaine Johnson, who's the guy? Quinton Williams, the monster inside. Like, to get 6 sacks is no fluke. It also helps when you have elite pass rushers around you, which, guess what? He'll also have here in Cleveland. Quinton Jefferson was a name that when we did our ideal free agent predictions last week, Bull put on there. And I was like, oh, that's a good call, Bull. Like, he kind of fits the mold, the versatility, and everything that Andrew Berry looks for in a player. But, yeah, I think someone will actually overpay for him because he's coming off a season where he had 6 sacks. We don't know the exact financials on this yet. This literally came out within the last 10 minutes. Like, we're still kind of digesting and reacting on the fly. But on a 1-year deal, I can't imagine it's going to be more than $3-4 million, Earl. And for that price, for the production this guy's given you the last 3 seasons, once again, 4.5 sacks 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, 5.5 sacks 2 years ago, 6 sacks last year. You know, he's getting older. He's 30 years old, but no signs of a drop-off whatsoever. And now you can go with any combination of the such you want between Myles, Za'Darius, Ogbo, Jefferson, Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire. If you want to put him on the inside, you go him and Hurst as a pass rushing tandem. And I saw this stat. I talked about Shelby Harris's pressure rate. Right? That was 10 last season. 10 and change. Christian Wilkins was right there. Quinton Jefferson's pressure rate last season, now he didn't play about 46% of the snaps, was 13%. Even higher than Shelby Harris, who was even higher than Christian Wilkins. So these are 2 bargain deals that are giving you not down by down production, but you combine those 2 together, if each one's playing 50%, that's a damn good pass rushing tandem from the interior.
I think another aspect of it is the durability factor. This is a dude who's been very available throughout his career. He started 14 games last year for the New York Jets. Mike, if you go back to after Hurst got hurt last year.
And sorry to cut you off 1 sec. He played 17 the year before, 17 the year before, 16 the year before, 14 the year before, and 16 before that. Very durable.
Very durable dude. 14 games started last year. You look at how the drop-off in production was on the defensive line, especially from the interior, once Hurst got hurt last year, right? So you bring in another reinforcement to where if somebody does go down, you know, the drop-off and pass win rate and things of that nature is not significant. And so this is another huge, impactful move that I think will have long-term dividend payoff for the Cleveland Browns. You want to stack as many of these dudes as you can on both sides of the offensive line. You know, we know that Jim Shorts like to rotate guys in. So if this is a dude who's playing 46% of the snaps and he's winning 13, like you said, 13%.
13% pressure, one of the highest in football.
That is huge, right? So that means every time he's in a game, he's having an impact on the game. And he just adds to a group of guys to where when they get their chance, when they're out there, they're having that impact. And so you can continue to rotate guys in, continue to keep guys fresh, and continue to dominate opposing offensive lines.
As you were saying that, it kind of hit me. If you go back to Jim Schwartz in Philadelphia, they always had literally 2 separate units on the defensive line. They wouldn't always substitute 4 for 4 per se, but those guys were always fresh. And go back to even in Tennessee. Part of the reason they were so successful at getting to the quarterback with only 4 pass rushers, they didn't have to bring the blitz, was these guys were just constantly hey, need a break? All right, we're going to bring in a reinforcement who's maybe not as good,
right? But
it's not a giant drop-off. Take a breather for 2 plays, come back on 3rd down. You're ready to go, right? You look at the Browns' defensive line depth now. I'm going to name not position by position.
No, let's do this way, not to cut you off. Okay. Hypothetically, let's create 2 units. Unit 1, your ends is Za'Darius and Myles. Your interior is Dalvin Tomlinson and Quinton Jefferson. Ideally.
Sure. For the sake of this,
for the sake of this, right? Unit 2, your ends is Ogbo
and Alex Wright.
Your interior line,
Hurst, Shelby Harris.
There you go.
That's freaking loaded.
That's crazy.
And now, this is a great move. I'm all for it. The one thing that it makes me think, and not a negative, but if they're signing another D tackle, how much do they trust Siaki Ika? That's the only thing I'm curious, and maybe they don't think he's ready to play yet. Maybe they said, hey, Quinton Jefferson's too good to be out there for the price that he's available for. Sorry, Siaka, we got to bring this guy in because it's win now.
No, it's no sorry, though. It's no sorry.
But I'm just curious what they think about Siaki.
It helps in this development. I still think they like the player. I don't think that they're going to give up on this dude. You know, they might be seeing things behind the scenes that we don't see to say, okay, we need to go get somebody right now. But not only that, I think Andrew Berry is learning from mistakes, right? Go back to last year. You know, he thought Jerome Ford would be ready to take that next step. And it came back to bite him in his ass, so to speak, to where he was kind of like hit and miss on more often than not. And so this is a dude who's making sure he's doing his due diligence to making sure that we have as much depth as possible, and especially if significant positions are needed. I'm
just saying, if you draft a guy in the 3rd round, by his 2nd year, you'd hope he'd be able to crack a 4-man rotation at a position that rotates a lot.
But when you play
for it, and Quinton Jefferson's a stud, so I'm all for it.
It's in his benefit long term. You know what I mean? You don't have to. This is how you want to build this team. This is how most quality teams look like. You know, in Cleveland for so long, we're used to guys drafted in the first 3 rounds, you know, with the expectation they have to come in, play immediately, and then play a significant role and have a significant impact on this team. And that's not the case anymore. You got veteran guys that are damn good football players.
Yeah.
And a lot of these draft picks are just becoming rotational pieces, guys that's part of the development that you hope develops to the point to where when some of these veteran contracts expire, you know, you can move on because you got another guy who's been waiting in the wings for a couple of years, learning from the guys that's ahead of him, getting himself ready. So I don't necessarily look at it as a negative or they consider something wrong. I just think, hey, we're in win now mode. Like, this is a dude coming in his 2nd year, didn't have much playing time, and this is another guy that he can learn from.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying when you draft a guy in the 3rd round, I would hope he could crack the rotation by year 2. That's my point.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. The last 3 third-round picks, right, that we can think of, Schwartz, Tillman, Ika. They did not crack
so just trade all your 3rd-round picks.
So picks.
But at the end of the day, it's a good problem to have.
Right.
If you have quality play, and just like he didn't play as a rookie, well, he didn't play because they had Dalvin Tomlinson playing well, Jordan Elliott playing well, Hurst playing well, Shelby Harris playing well, right? Like, if you can't crack that rotation, that's not necessarily a knock on you. That's you got 4 veterans ahead of you.
You're on a damn good team.
Yeah.
With
it's
a damn good unit.
Same situation in this sense by bringing in Quinton Jefferson. You just replaced Jordan Elliott with Quinton Jefferson, which, by the way, is probably an upgrade. Like, I know Jordan Elliott played well last season.
He's going to a damn good team.
And he's going to a very good situation in San Francisco. But I think Quinton Jefferson, if you're going just side by side, take everything else, Quinton Jefferson's a better player. So the Browns actually upgraded their defensive tackle room by bringing him in and letting Jordan Elliott walk. You know, I was just saying it's the one thing I look at it from the big picture of this move, but in the macro in terms of Quinton Jefferson, if you're getting, just hear me out. You ready for this?
Yeah.
On a 3rd down pass rush situation, 3rd and 8. Let's take Lamar out of the question because he kind of throws a wrench into everything. You're playing Russell Wilson.
Okay.
You got Za'Darius who can line up inside or outside. You have Myles Garrett who can line up in the 37 yards off the line of scrimmage and still get pressure on the quarterback because he's that good. You have Shelby Harris who had a 10% pressure rate last season. You have Quinton Jefferson, who had a 13% pressure rate last season. You have Ogbo, who's a pass rush specialist. You have Alex Wright, who ended the season 3 straight games with the sack.
Exactly.
You have Mo Hurst, who, when healthy, might be their best defensive tackle at generating a pass rush. And then you have Dalvin Tomlinson, who's making $17 million, who's a really good player, but probably won't be on the field because of the depth and the quality of pass rushers they have from the interior on a 3rd and 7. Jim Schwartz has to be like a kid in a freaking candy shop
Absolutely.
right now, thinking of different packages, different combinations. Yeah, you could overload and put Myles in the interior and Jefferson on the outside and make a guard who's way outmatched physically and athletically have to stop 95 and have a tackle still have to deal with a 290-pound freak. Like, I don't know if anyone's happier right now than Jim Schwartz.
Man, listen, you made me think about when we hired the defensive line coach from the Houston Texans this offseason, right? And then you see the additions on the defensive line this offseason. You know, you get more quality on the coaching staff, you get more quality on the field. And I'm really thinking about back to when D'Anthony Bell was on this show, and he talked about going into year 2 of Jim Schwartz's system and how understanding the scheme, the language, the nuances of the system is kind of like second nature now. And so it helps speed up the learning curve for the incoming guys who don't necessarily know the system. And that makes the signing of Jordan Hicks that much more important because he spent so much time with Jim Schwartz and he knows the defense, right? But you get to talking about these different packages. First things first, Mo Hurst, one of the top players I thought was priority in re-signing because when he's healthy, the dude is a damn beast, right? You know, he made plays in training camp, preseason, and the season all last year. So to get that dude back, to get Shelby Harris back, and then you bring in this dude right here, these different packages, right? Think about a speed package across that line.
NASCAR.
A NASCAR package with like Ogbo, with Alex Wright, with Myles Garrett, like with you know what I mean? Like you have so many different weapons to deploy. It don't make no sense. And it's even scarier because the majority of this team on that side of the ball is going into year 2 of this system. It's going to be scary hours.
We're talking about that on the show today, by the way.
Like
the year
it's
2 of
be
Schwartz.
crazy.
Yeah. And you talk about the NASCAR package, right? Like, you want to get real crazy? We know for a fact Myles Garrett can rush from the interior if needed. We know Za'Darius Smith can rush from the interior if needed. I don't think we saw this last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what if on 3rd and 13 or whatever, you want to put Alex Wright on one end, Ogbo on the other end, and Za'Darius and Myles in the interior, and say good luck.
You could wreak havoc.
Good luck.
Like you could really like wreak havoc.
What are you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah,
it's crazy. This is a great signing by Andrew Berry, and he continues to move smart. You know, I think that sometimes we expect these huge splash moves, but if you just look at the pieces he's added and the players that he's retained, I feel like he's done his due diligence and he's been smart. You know, with a lot of the moves. Now, you know, people might not agree with every single move that he made, but I feel like a lot of the moves is quality. You know, you get some depth pieces. You lose Michael Dunn, and then you immediately sign a guard. You know,
they brought Dunn back.
Oh, they brought Dunn back. Okay,
Dunn's back, yeah.
But you signed a guard from Cincinnati to bring in more depth.
They lost Hudson. They brought the tackle.
Right. I'm sorry, the tackle. So you bring him in to bring in more depth on that side of the ball. I just see them adding depth at the necessary positions where we're really stable at. And, you know, the trade for Jerry Jeudy, right?
Yeah.
Trying to unlock his potential. I don't think he's done. I think it's more moves to be made. I think he's going to figure out a way to continue to add talent to this team. Because if there's talented players out there,
he's interested.
And you should be.
Yeah.
You should be. I don't think you should look at any unit and say, okay, if a guy was to become available because we have said players, we shouldn't at least look at it.
When did the Za'Darius trade happen last year? Was that pre-draft? Or is that post-draft?
I can't remember, honestly.
Because I'm still waiting to see if he has that secondary Za'Darius move, right? Like, seems like the waters have calmed. They had signed Ogbo already. I know it was after free agency because they already had Ogbo. And right when you least expect it, he strikes, brings in Za'Darius for 2 fifth-round picks. So I don't know what he's got up his sleeve, but I think anytime you look at Andrew Berry and like, all right, he's done, you're only fooling yourself. Because that dude doesn't sleep in the sense of looking for ways to improve his team. And to your point on depth, it's human nature, myself included, Earl, you included, Ant back there when we did our free agency projections. Like, we all had him going out and spending big money on at least one player, right? You had Jonathan Grenard. I had Bryce Huff. Bull had spending big money on a receiver, Marquise Brown, and one of the defensive guys. DJ Reader's still out there. Eric Armstead is still out there. We thought Christian Wilkins was a guy they might pursue, right? He came into this offseason with a very clear approach. We were good enough last year. We get slightly better and Deshaun's back to who he is. We're right there. We don't have to go crazy and handcuff ourselves to even more future cap issues.
He's being smart with his money.
Exactly.
He's being very smart
and he's
with
making
his money.
Marginal financial moves that could have – what's the opposite of marginal? He could have minimal financial moves that could have maximum –
Minimowski financial moves.
That could have a legit impact on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like these are low-risk, high-reward signings across the board.
In all seriousness, and I'm not looking at the chat, and I'm pretty sure the chat is going crazy. Shout out to y'all for joining us this morning, impromptu show. But what about Mike Williams? Hear me out. We're
going to talk about the show today again. Yeah. We'll give a little teaser for the show today.
That's Deshaun Watson's boy, right?
It is.
Like, there's been lobbying for Mike Williams. Now he's a free agent. The crazy part about it, the L.A. Chargers had 4 of the 10 highest salary cap hits for this upcoming season.
Hit 3 of the 5 non-quarterback hits.
Crazy, right? So, like,
that's roster mismanagement to the max.
It's gonna be interesting to see if he's looking to kind of, get some big dollars, or how that situation will play out. If Deshaun Watson will have an impact on that. But I'm not opposed to going to get another wide receiver if you can.
Me either. I don't know how this works, and I probably should know before I ask this. So Russell Wilson was cut, and Pittsburgh was able to sign him for $1 million and change because.
So you're thinking along the lines I'm thinking.
Well, my question is, if a team were to sign Mike Williams, do you get him at a veteran minimum?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I don't know offhand, but you're thinking along the lines I'm thinking. He had a $21 million cap hit, right?
Yeah, and his base. I'll look it up while you're going, but he had he was making real money this season,
so,
and I'm not sure if because he was cut, how that translates to, I don't know how much guaranteed money. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the answer. If you're in the chat, and are you looking at the chat? If anyone in the chat knows, I'm going to try figuring this out on the fly. But if you get Mike Williams for $2 million or whatever it is.
Lord have mercy.
What scares me is Calvin Ridley just got $50 million yesterday, guaranteed, 92 total. Is he going to want some sort of deal you know what I'm saying? They obviously can't pay that, and I don't think he's worth that. But I would not be against it. I think they're not done. I think Operation Stockpile is still in effect for Andrew Berry. He's just looking to work in the bargain bin. He ain't trying to buy full price deals right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can go get that done, it'd be interesting to see the guys kind of unpack this topic more on the main show. Again, man, we got almost 500 people watching. Can't thank y'all enough. This is what we do here at UCSS. The news come. We make sure we deliver the content to y'all immediately. While you are there, like, subscribe, and tell somebody. Don't miss the full show at 11 a.m. I think the dudes is going to kill it today.
The Cavs had a crazy win last night, and crazy dominate. That was in my opinion, their best one of the season. We'll talk about that. We'll talk Mike Williams.
I mean, you know what happened. Spider was back. That's what happened.
And they also couldn't miss.
Spider was back.
Literally couldn't miss. Sam Merrill had 9
Energy
assists.
is contagious, bro. Yeah. It's contagious, man. When your leader is back,
it helps.
When that dude that picks up the energy, when that alpha dog is back on the court, it elevates everybody else around you, and they play like it. Sam Merrill couldn't hit a shot for the last 15 games.
And he had 5 threes and 9 assists last night. So back to Mike Williams real quick. According to Over the Cap, the Chargers take a dead cap hit of $12.4 million for cutting him.
Okay.
They would have had to pay him 20-something, say about $8 million by cutting him. I don't want to say something I'm not 100% sure on. I'll find out by the show what it would actually cost. And
Okay, so according to Fox Sports on Google, it says he'll be at $32 million against the 2024 salary cap. The move only cleared $20 million for the Chargers.
Yeah, so it's a $12 million. Yeah. But if someone was to sign Mike Williams, does it work the same way Russell Wilson worked? Because that's what I'm not sure. The Chargers have a $12 million. Well, we'll find that out for the show. Last thoughts on Quinton Jefferson, real quick.
We also have a super chat that we have to read before we go.
Oh, read this. Let's get the super chat, then we'll get our final thoughts.
It's from Skilly. He says,
Skilly,
what up, man?
hasn't been around in a while, but he says, "Good morning, guys. I love the early show. I can be here for these." Go
Hey,
Browns.
tell Andrew Barry to sign someone at 9 a.m. every morning. We were going to do it behind the glass. This is our de facto behind the glass, a little breaking. Let's call it breaking the glass. If we ever have breaking news before the morning, let's call it breaking the glass. But final thoughts on Quinton Jefferson. Earl, I'll start. You wrap us up. At the end of the day, this dude has a 13% pressure rate last season, a career high in sacks. He's 6'4", 290, can play inside, can play outside, and it just puts another tool in the tool belt for Jim Schwartz. The Browns can generate pressure as well as anybody in the league with just 4 pass rushers. They do not have to bring the blitz, which unlocks everything on the back end for secondaries, for coverages, for exotic coverages. You can rotate to certain players. You can double certain players. You are severely handcuffed and hampered when you need to bring 5, 6, 7 guys to put pressure on the quarterback. Based on the players, and health obviously plays a big factor, based on the players on this roster, the Browns should not need to bring extra guys outside of the occasional you want to change it up and throw them a curveball. They don't need to bring 5, 6, 7 to get pressure. Between Myles, Za'Darius, Ogbo, Jefferson, Hurst, Harris, Alex Wright, Dalvin Tomlinson, these guys should be able to wreak havoc on an opposing quarterback week in and week out. First quarter to fourth quarter, they should be able to rotate, keep themselves fresh, and this just makes Jim Schwartz's life so much easier. If anyone is going to sleep good tonight, it's our guy Jim Schwartz, who hopefully can take this defense from being very, 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 very good in 2023 to all-time great in 2024. We'll see.
You're adding another quality piece to the puzzle of a championship team that you're trying to build to go win the Super Bowl. You get a guy that's very durable, that's a veteran, fits everything that Jim Schwartz and the Cleveland Browns defense wants to do. He can play inside and outside. He's versatile. He's a leader. He's a guy that I think will be good in the locker room. He will help young players develop. This is a great move for the Cleveland Browns in every single aspect. And here he is yet again, Andrew Berry with another one-year finesse move, right? So I look at this move as another quality move for the Cleveland Browns. Excited to see what he do next.
A little more breaking news. Devin Bush, the former first-round pick of the Steelers, is visiting the Browns today. So more linebacker help could come on the way. And we're going to add that into tag board for later. We'll talk about that in the show.
I want Jerome Baker.
Yeah.
I want Jerome Baker. Come home.
He's a Cleveland kid. Devin Bush, a Michigan man. So, you know, Northeast Ohio had their choice. Well, Baker's just way better in general. It's not even that close. But last thing.
Can get some real Baker.
Last thing on Jefferson. The defensive line's a position group that just always gets hurt. It's a physical, grueling position. Myles missed a game last year, a couple games, but obviously was hindered by the shoulder. Ogbo tore his pec. Hurst tore his pec. I mean, it's just a position that takes its toll. Between Harris and Jefferson, those are two of the most durable defensive tackles in all of football. And now you got a rotation of 8, potentially 9 if you include Ika, to rotate in and out to keep these guys fresh. I'm a big fan. AB, you did it again. Kudos to you, my friend. We'll see you on UCSS at 11 o'clock. Earl, appreciate you joining us. Steve, this is Behind the Glass for tonight, and we'll see y'all.
Hey, you said that like I don't work here.
In about